Thanks so much, Sean, for allowing me to sit in for you today. I am really enjoying it. My name is Rose, and joining me right now is the author of the book, The Russian Hoax, The Illicit Scheme to Clear Hillary Clinton and Frame Donald Trump. He's a legal analyst and contributor for Fox News Channel and Fox Business Network, and also a former defense attorney. Please welcome to the show, Gregg Jarrett. Hey, Greg, how are you doing?
I'm well, Rose. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's so good to have you on. You're the go-to guy when we need help figuring everything out, okay? But there's so much to figure out today. First of all, Judge Emmett Sullivan. Now, that's the same guy that discovered that Weissman and his bunch were withholding exculpatory evidence in the Ted Stevens case, right? Isn't he the same one?
It is. In fact, he's very wily and wise to the pitfalls of a prosecution case. He looks for, I think, prosecutors who are hiding evidence and creating false testimony, which he found in that case. So it seems he's alerted to the Michael Flynn case that the same thing may have occurred.
Right. And so he ordered the special counsel to turn over any of the documents, or all of the documents, I should say, that are related to General Flynn. So, but he felt that he didn't receive what he had asked for. So then he said, okay, that's it. I need to have those. Now, from what I understand, the Mueller team has handed those over, but they were heavily redacted.
That's right. So we don't know whether the judge received an unredacted version, but I suspect he received what we received, which was a redacted version. And it appears to me that Mueller may not have handed over all of the 302s that were requested. The judge was very clear. He said, hand over to me, not to the other side, but to me, the judge, any and all 302s relative to the Michael Flynn case. Well, the 302 that the media received is dated August.
Right.
Where is the 302 that's dated January and early February of the interview of Michael Flynn? The August 302 is an interview of Peter Strzok recounting his interview of Michael Flynn 7 months earlier. So I'm hoping that the judge is going to say, wait a minute, you only gave me one 302, and that's 7 months after the fact. Where's the original?
Yeah, because that's exactly right. That wasn't the one that he had asked for, right? So what happened?
Asked for any and all. So, they haven't given any and all. We know there's a 302 in January, February, right after the Flynn interview, because Peter Strzok and his lover, Lisa Page, texted each other about it, and we have that text.
It's interesting because, so what happens? They can't destroy that information, can they? They have to. They've got it. It's got to be there somewhere, right?
Honest prosecutors don't destroy that stuff. Dishonest prosecutors do. And again, you brought up the Ted Stevens case.
Right.
They had either destroyed or hidden exculpatory evidence and, in fact, invented false evidence to try to convict Ted Stevens. This is what happens when, you have prosecutors who only care about winning and don't care about honesty and justice.
In the case of Ted Stevens, too, that was so sad because, he lost an election as a result. I think he was found guilty on, 8 felonies, and then it was appealed because it was discovered. As you said, the evidence was held back, but he lost his career, and he has since passed away. So, it's when you see this happen, it breaks your heart. And a lot of people feel that Flynn, of course, has been treated unfairly, and a couple of things that we heard, his sentencing still going to be tomorrow?
It is. It's supposed to be. Now, the judge could always delay it and demand a hearing, and for prosecutors to, all of them involved, maybe including Peter Strzok and James Comey and others, for what's known as a show cause hearing as to why they should not be held in contempt. Are you guys hiding documents? You didn't give me all the documents I demanded, and I want a full accounting here, and everybody's going to show up. This is an Article III judge, which means, he's answerable to nobody. He's a federal judge for life, and he has the authority to do that. And I hope he's as deeply concerned about the injustice as I am. And in fact, I wrote a column that was published on Friday night. It was entitled, "Michael Flynn is Innocent, Wrongly Prosecuted by Mueller to Hurt Trump." You can find it on foxnews.com, and I believe Sean has it on his website as well.
Right, he does. And so when we talk about how this went down with Flynn, a lot of people have been talking a lot recently about his right to counsel. He didn't know that he had that. They were saying this is entrapment. And what you said, too, that they weaponized, they're just weaponizing this whole process. So was he discouraged from having an attorney, and how much of an abuse of the justice system was all of that?
Oh, he was absolutely told he didn't need a lawyer. Andrew McCabe, on the day of the interview with Flynn by two FBI agents, telephoned Flynn of the White House, and he lied to him. He gave him a false reason for why they wanted to speak with him. They decided in advance, quote, the agents would not warn Flynn it's a crime to lie during the interview, end of quote. That's in McCabe's memos. And, they already had a transcript of the very legal conversation that Flynn had with the Russian ambassador, not unusual, not illegal, which also invites the question, why even do the interview? They didn't have a legal basis for questioning, the national security advisor. Their intent was I don't use the word entrapment because legally that's different, but they were trying to trap him into making a false statement. The irony, of course, is that the two FBI agents who did the interview walked out, wrote down in a memo that they, quote, had the impression at the time that Flynn was not lying. So if I'm Emmett Sullivan, I might say on Tuesday, tomorrow, why did you charge Flynn with the crime of lying when the only two witnesses who interviewed Flynn said he was not lying?
Sounds like a fair question.
Yes, and the judge should also turn to Michael Flynn and say, why did you plead guilty to a crime you did not commit? Were you coerced? Did the feds threaten to prosecute your son? Were there financial reasons that caused you to plead? Because, it's the role of the judge to see that a process is fair and honest and not unduly coerced, to see that justice is done, not to see that convictions are had. Yeah. So we'll wait and see what happens tomorrow, but it's an important day.
Greg, what are they talking about today? Michael Flynn's business partner, they say that he was illegally lobbying for Turkey, and I guess I suppose they're trying to, I don't know, is this another issue now that we have to face, or that Flynn has to face, or is this is just so separate, isn't it?
Well, part of the recitation of facts in the sentencing memo was that Flynn hadn't registered properly under FARA, Foreign Agents Registration Act. Now, normally people are allowed to, when they're caught having not properly registered, they're allowed to then register retroactively. But Mueller really is the first prosecutor in a long time who's decided he's going to go after people for FARA violations. And it looks like a couple of the business partners of Michael Flynn failed to properly register. But, once again, Rose, it has nothing whatsoever to do with Donald Trump and Russia.
Right, Russia, that's right. Donald Trump, speaking of President Trump, he was talking over the weekend about how the media isn't paying any attention to the new revelations about Peter Strzok and Lisa Page and their tweets, and their emails. And supposedly those they can't find the text that they made between the two of them. Their iPhones were that were issued to both of them, both Strzok and Page, have been cleaned, and so there's nothing there. And Trump is a little upset about that, and he said the media really never focused on it, which of course they did not.
Oh, they didn't. And those cell phones were in the custody of Robert Mueller and his special counsel, and they said they didn't have them for months and months and months. suddenly they're discovered, and yet they're wiped clean.
Mm-hmm.
So it strikes me that Robert Mueller and his team of partisans have some questions to answer on that front.
I mean, that's so suspicious. I mean, here you have these iPhones that were set back to the factory settings and reconfigured for new people to use, I guess, whenever they're reissued. And this doesn't look suspicious to anyone?
It looks suspicious to me. It looks to me like Robert Mueller and Andrew Weissman and the whole gang took a page out of the Hillary Clinton playbook, who destroyed her devices,
yes,
destroyed emails, tens of thousands of emails, and cleaned her server and devices with bleach bit. So, I mean, there's too much of this destruction of evidence going on, and I can't find those documents, and then suddenly sanitized versions appear. Yeah.
So, all right. So, Comey, round 2. Is he going to remember anything more now than he could a week ago?
No, I imagine there will be hundreds of questions that he can't remember and doesn't know. 245 during his first, 6.5-hour interview. Think of this. The FBI director answers, I don't remember, I don't know, 245 times about critical matters. These are not just ancillary, tangential matters. These are principal matters. When it came to things like the dossier and when he learned that Fusion GPS was involved and the Hillary Clinton campaign was involved and Glenn Simpson and all of the people who were trying to set up Donald Trump, frame him for things he didn't do, Comey dummied up. So he is either the most incompetent FBI director in the history of the Bureau, or he's lying. And take your pick.
Or maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah, it could be. But we also know today that Department of Justice lawyers are telling him not to answer a lot of questions.
Yeah.
The FBI and the Department of Justice are still at it.
Yeah, they are.
They are still obstructing Congress. They're still hiding and covering up their own wrongdoing. And quite honestly, I blame Jeff Sessions for all of that.
So does Donald Trump. So does
the DOJ. Yeah, the DOJ has been leaderless, and largely at the helm has been Rod Rosenstein, who signed off illegally, in my judgment, on one of the FISA warrants, and has been doing everything he can to prevent Congress from finding out about this illicit scheme and all the wrongdoing by Rosenstein and Strzok and Comey and others.
Well, thank you for bringing us up to date. Thanks for all the work that you do. Your book, The Russia Hoax, is a good book and should be read by all listening right now. The Illicit Scheme to Clear Hillary Clinton and Frame Donald Trump. Okay, it'll be interesting to see how things play out the rest of the week. Gregg Jarrett, thanks so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Always great talking to you, Rose.
I know. Same here, Greg. I appreciate you.